Identifying with a religion. Identifying with a religion. I want to address that in this video because in one of my previous videos I referenced, which I often reference, a belief in Jesus and a spiritual foundation that I have in my life that's been very important and helpful. And there's been different times in my life that I may have been leaning more towards the religion of calling myself a Christian and being a Christian. But let me expand on that because I want to define my own life, and I want to communicate that at this point in my life, I can acknowledge certain teaching. I can acknowledge certain teachings, but I don't identify with any one religion. First, when I grew up in a diverse area in New Jersey with Jewish, Muslim, atheist, Buddhist, Hindu, melting pot. New Jersey, New York is a big, very diverse area in the world, a very special area. It's a major port that many immigrants, including my grandparents from Italy, had migrated. And what I learned, or what I have learned as I've gotten older, is that when I was young, I never really thought of my friends as what religion were they. I never thought my best friend at a certain point was Jewish. Then I never thought, one of my friends, was Hindu. I never thought one of my friends was Muslim. Not until I got older and society starts to form your thinking and division did I start to understand the differences in religion. And there are differences, and that eventually I seeked out faith. Obviously, I had a foundation based on what my parents knew, based on what certain generations of my family were into, coming from Italy. So there was a Roman Catholic origin. So just like anybody's history, you're going to have some starting point, and then you're going to have to figure out for yourself as an adult what you want to believe and what you don't, because you have free will. You can do whatever you want. And so I found, after seeking, for me, I found tremendous value in the teachings of Jesus and some of the things in the Torah. I studied, I won't say all the religions deeply, but I just came basically back to the point of the reason I guess I kind of bought into Jesus was, he stood in front of a prostitute and she was going to get ready to get stoned to death. Because by the letter of the law, the religious law, if you committed adultery, your punishment was death, and you deserved to be stoned to death. And he stood in front of them, and he was trying to negotiate with the religious leaders. And he said, look, you may be right by the letter of the law, but he who has no sin cast the first stone. And no one is without sin. And so they all had to walk away. And I thought, to me, that's what sold me on Jesus. It didn't sell me on being a Christian, because what you'll find is I don't identify with a lot of Christians. I don't like a lot of Christians. I actually can't stand. I don't want to say hate, but I can't stand them. I can't watch them. I don't like them. I don't vibe with them. But same thing can be said with any religion. There's certain Jewish people I like, certain Jewish people I don't. Certain Hindu people I like, certain Hindu people I don't. It's I don't, because I don't see them as what religion are they and what are their people. I don't look at people like, oh, I'm part of this clan. I look at do we vibe? And how do we treat each other? And even if we have the same beliefs, we may not vibe. So I think people identify with a religion partly because of their heritage, but also partly because human nature is part of running in a pack, running in a tribe. I often say one of the mysteries of life is I'll park in an empty parking lot kind of off to the side by myself because I like to be by myself. And even though there's tons of spaces around, a lot of times people park next to me. And for years, it's I don't understand why someone would do that. I would be at the beach and there'd be plenty of spaces on all the sides, and somebody would set up their beach chairs right next to me. Why do people do that? People like to run in packs, tribalism, identifying with others as their people. Who are my people? Whoever I vibe with. I don't care what religion you are, or I don't care if you're atheist. I have my belief system. I believe in seeking a spiritual well-being. I believe our beings are partly spiritual. So but I don't believe in everything that was written in the Bible or that we should follow it. that women shouldn't speak up at church, that slaves should obey their slave masters, that one people is better than the other, because if you're treating people wrong, I don't care what people you are, no one's owed anything. Now, that's a big contention point. A lot of people think because I'm of certain heritage, I'm owed something. I'm not owed anything, and I don't think anyone else is. I think, you go out there, you live a good life. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to get in arguments. You're going to be wrong sometimes. I believe we're saved by grace. You don't have to believe in anything. I believe in science. I believe in technology. I don't believe that, you have to be friends with anyone. I believe you have a level of love in your heart that hate doesn't reside. I don't like a lot of things. I don't like a lot of people. But I don't have like a burning hate that keeps me up at night. I have a peace. And part of that is my spiritual belief system. But it doesn't mean that I necessarily identify with Christians or Jewish or Muslim or atheist. I identify with people I vibe with. I speak my truth. I'm not owed anything. I don't think, there's so many different people that have different heritage that there's so much hurt, whether it was slavery from certain ethnic groups, whether it was the Holocaust, whether it's Palestine people, whether it's Native Americans in America, which technically the Europeans took their land. Every culture, race, religion can reflect back on hurt. And certainly there's then their game of, I've been hurt more than you, my people have been persecuted more than you, and that goes down that road. And then the next thing that goes down that road is, I'm owed this, you're owed that. You can get down this dark hole of that whole conversation. I can't change the past. I can't change the future. Well, I don't want to say I can't change the future, but I can't change the past. I can acknowledge the past like I just did. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge the past. I can acknowledge that a lot of different groups, for a lot of different reasons, have been persecuted, hurt, and manipulated. And every group has, to a certain level. Again, you can say this one's more than the other. I look at, how do I make my life better, and how do I become a positive person in society? By just trying to live a good life myself, not trying to oppress people, trying to give people fair, equal rights, and be a person of equality, which I speak on often on this channel. And that's it. And I think that's how we evolve as the human race and society, rather than a certain people, and we go forward. Now, some people don't want to hear that. I think the vast majority of people want to identify as a pack. Even like flags for a country, the American flag, Italian flag, Puerto Rican flag, whatever. People identify so deeply with that flag because it says, I'm part of this group. And patriotism is almost a religion. Even though the United States of America, the First Amendment right, guarantees that you are allowed to protest your government for any grievance. And so recently, we just had an election where we elected Donald Trump. The number one reason, one of the major reasons why Donald Trump got elected, was because NFL players had protested the national anthem, and there was a huge uprising, undertone. A lot of people don't say, but it's the truth. That's one of the core reasons he got elected. And people felt, even though it's the First Amendment right to protest for any reason, you don't have to have a good reason. I'm not saying that their reason was right, but there was a certain ethnic group and leaders within that group protesting, saying, look, I don't feel that whether it's police or the judicial system is treating our group fairly. I'm going to protest a national anthem by taking a knee, which is totally constitutional. And people got an uproar because they identify with the flag and what it means to them, and that's patriotism. That fury is the same fury that people feel when it comes to identifying with a religion. And if you even say anything slightly like that, doesn't sit with their identity well, there's an uprising. And that's how wars start. That's how, elections change. That's how people resent each other. Now, I'm not saying, look, everyone has a right to say, look, I identify as this. This is what I believe. I don't believe you're right. I kind of don't get lost in that hole. This video is to try to address, for me, okay? I identify as myself. As a person, I try to continually improve. I try to hang around people that are good for my mental health. I believe in the core essence of equality for all. Whether it's a Christian, Pakistani, Hindu, Jewish, whatever. But I also, and this is where I lose, I don't believe anyone in any part of life is necessarily owed anything. And I'm okay with walking alone. A lot of people want to walk in the path. I believe you need good people around you. But I go back to when I was young. I had best friends that were Jewish, atheist, Muslim, Hindu. And I never looked at them and said, when I was at a young stage in life, that what are their religion? And that's going to determine if I like them. I never looked at it. Are they this religion? Because if they are, I owe them something. I just looked at them as, how do they treat me? And there were some friends I had that were Christian that treat me bad. Some atheist friends I had that treat me bad. There's no one science to say just because this person identifies as this, they're going to treat me good. It's important for me to share this. Very important. Peace and love.